Focusing on the essential. How to say no to distractions and prioritize what really matters. How many times have you found yourself lost in an endless to-do list, running from one task to another, yet not feeling like you're actually making any progress? Here's what no one likes to admit. Most of the things we do daily don't really matter. That's right, they don't. People almost religiously believe that to be productive, you have to be constantly busy. Here's the truth. Being busy doesn't mean being productive. The key to real success is focusing on the essential, the things that truly matter and make a difference. And the most effective way to do that is by learning to say no to everything else. Imagine the freedom you would feel by cutting out distractions and focusing only on the tasks that truly bring you closer to your goals. Sounds impossible? It's not. Let's dive into how this works. Focusing on the essential starts with a simple yet powerful practice. The art of eliminating the unnecessary. Think of it as mental decluttering. It's like cleaning your house. If you don't need something, why keep it taking up space? The same applies to your time and attention. Make a list of all your current responsibilities and start cutting out those that don't bring significant returns. A good practice is to adopt the 80-20 rule, which suggests that 80% of your results come from just 20% of your effort. Identify those 20% and focus on them. You'll quickly realize that much of what fills your days doesn't deserve as much space as you've been giving it. Now, saying no to distractions doesn't mean you should become cold or insensitive. It's about protecting what's most important to you. If you're constantly saying yes to everything, you'll end up with no time for the things that truly matter. So, how do you start? First, clearly define what your priorities are. It could be something like spending more time with family, working on a personal project, or simply having more time for self-care. When someone asks you to do something that doesn't align with these priorities, remember that you're not saying no to the person. You're saying yes to yourself and what's essential in your life. The power of a positive no. How to say no respectfully and maintain healthy relationships. Many people are afraid to say no because they think it will hurt their relationships or make them seem selfish. But here's a different approach. Saying no can actually strengthen your relationships as long as it's done the right way. You might be wondering, how is that possible? Well, the secret lies in a concept that few people master. A positive no. By saying no, with empathy and respect, you protect your own boundaries while maintaining a connection with the other person. Imagine being able to decline requests without causing resentment, and instead, building a foundation of mutual respect. This is one of the most valuable skills you can develop. The positive no begins with an internal yes. This means that before saying no to someone, you must connect with your own values and needs. Let's say someone asks you to take on an extra project at work. Before you respond, ask yourself, is this project aligned with my goals and priorities? If the answer is no, then the next step is to communicate that in a firm yet kind manner. You might say something like, I'd love to help, but right now I'm focused on other projects that need my attention. Notice that you're not just refusing the request, but reaffirming what's important to you. Finally, the cherry on top, offering an alternative. A well-structured no ends with a proposal that shows you still care about the other person. It can be as simple as suggesting someone else who could help or offering your support at a more convenient time. This shows that, despite the refusal, you still value the relationship. The result? You maintain your boundaries, protect your time, and at the same time strengthen your connections by creating a dynamic of respect and trust. Believe me, people respect those who protect their time, as long as it's done with the right balance of firmness and empathy. Setting clear boundaries, protecting your time and well-being. The harsh reality is that saying yes all the time is the perfect recipe for burnout. How often have you found yourself exhausted, with no energy, trying to please everyone around you while your own needs are pushed aside? This happens because in modern society, there's a deeply ingrained belief that being kind means always being available. But here's an important reflection. If you don't learn to set clear boundaries, your time, and consequently, your life, will be controlled by others. And here's the counterintuitive part. Saying no is actually one of the kindest things you can do for yourself and for others. After all, how can you take care of someone else if you're not taking care of yourself first? Setting clear boundaries is key to protecting your time and preserving your emotional well-being. It starts with understanding that you have the right to decide how to use your time, without guilt or the need for complex justifications. Imagine someone asks you to take on yet another responsibility at work, but you're already overwhelmed. Instead of automatically accepting, you can practice what Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend call healthy boundaries. By saying something like, "I'd love to help, but right now I'm focused on other priorities and can't take on more commitments." You're not only protecting your time, but also communicating respect for your own capacity and energy. Here's the secret. When you set clear boundaries, you're not just taking care of yourself, you're also teaching those around you how they should treat you. This creates a cycle of mutual respect and, paradoxically, leads to stronger and more balanced relationships. And of course, it's important to remember that boundaries aren't impenetrable walls. They're more like fences with gates. You decide who and what gets through, and when the time is right. By protecting your time and well-being, you ensure that when you say yes, it's a genuine yes from a place of balance and mental clarity. The importance of focusing on one thing, saying no to everything except what truly matters. There's one undeniable truth about productivity. It's this: trying to do everything at once is the quickest way to do nothing well. This might sound like heresy in a world where multitasking is seen as a superpower, but the reality is that focusing your attention on a single task, one thing, is what truly leads to extraordinary results. Gary Keller and Jay Papasan explore exactly this in their book, and the concept may seem radical to some. Saying no to everything except what truly matters might be one of the most transformative changes you can make. It's what generates real progress and eliminates the frustration of always being busy but never productive. The central idea here is simple. By choosing one thing to focus on, you eliminate the scatter that drains your energy and prevents you from achieving your goals. It works like this. Think about your most important goal, the one that can really change your life or your work. Now, everything else should be viewed as secondary. Gary Keller suggests you ask the question, what's the one thing I can do right now that will make everything else easier or unnecessary? This question acts as a filter for your to-do list. By applying this approach, you naturally and strategically start saying no to everything that doesn't contribute to that one thing. And here's a practical example. Let's say you're trying to write a book. That's your one thing. Then every party invitation, favor request, or extra task that comes your way should be filtered through the lens of important. If it doesn't directly contribute to the progress of your book, the answer is no. And don't worry, you're not being selfish. You're actually protecting what's essential to your success. This not only frees you to focus effectively, but it also helps you achieve results that once seemed distant or unattainable. Saying no without guilt. How to decline requests confidently and respectfully. One of the biggest challenges people face when learning to say no is the feeling of guilt. It seems almost automatic. You turn down a request and immediately feel that weight, as if you're letting someone down. Here's the truth. You don't owe anyone anything but yourself. Guilt is the invisible enemy that makes us put others' needs ahead of our own, even when it's harmful to us. But what happens when you start saying no confidently? You gain control over your life, and more importantly, you earn respect, both from others and yourself. Let's explore how to say no without carrying that unnecessary burden of guilt, how it can transform your life. Saying no without guilt starts with a mindset shift. First, it's crucial to recognize that your time and energy are finite resources, and you have the right to decide how to use them. Let's imagine a coworker asks you to take on part of a project that isn't your responsibility. Before responding with an automatic yes, stop and think, does this really serve my interests? When you reply with a polite and assertive no, like, I'd love to help, but right now I'm focused on other priorities, you're affirming control over your own life. And here's the key point. You don't need to over-apologize or excessively justify yourself. Simple and clear no is enough. And what happens when you start practicing this skill? You realize that the world doesn't fall apart, as many fear. On the contrary, people start to respect your boundaries because they see that you value your own time. This creates a positive ripple effect. Feel more empowered, less overwhelmed, and the people around you learn that you only commit when you can truly add value. This strengthens your relationships while protecting your well-being. And best of all, the guilt starts to fade, because you understand that saying no is actually an act of self-care. Protecting your energy, saying no to avoid burnout and maintain mental clarity. We live in a society that glorifies relentless work, but what no one tells you is that this endless pursuit of productivity can lead you straight to burnout. The truth is, if you're constantly saying yes to everything and everyone, you're not just losing time, you're draining your energy unnecessarily. And here's the counterintuitive fact. Burnout isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of poor boundary management. Knowing how to say no is one of the most powerful tools for preserving your energy and maintaining mental clarity. If you keep committing to everything, who's going to take care of you? Protecting your energy starts with the awareness that you have a limit. Just like a phone needs to be recharged, you also need moments to recharge. This means that if you accept everything that's asked of you, there won't be any energy left, the things that really matter. Imagine you've planned an afternoon to relax and take care of yourself, but a friend calls asking for help organizing a party. The old version of you might have said yes without hesitation, but the new, more mindful version of you would say, "I'd love to help, but I've already made a commitment to myself." This is the kind of response that protects your energy without sacrificing your relationships. And what's the result of starting to say no more often? You begin to experience a level of mental clarity that once seemed out of reach. Your brain is no longer overloaded with unnecessary commitments, and you start to focus better on the tasks that truly matter. This not only boosts your productivity, it also improves your quality of life. After all, when you say no to the right things, you're saying yes to your own mental health and well-being. Now that you understand the power of saying no and how it can transform your life, the question is, are you ready to put these lessons into practice? Remember, every conscious no you say is a yes to the things that really matter. Your health, your goals, and your well-being. It's time to take control of your time, protect your energy, and focus on what truly makes a difference. Will you continue living at the mercy of others' demands, or will you start prioritizing what's essential for you? If this content helped you, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to keep learning how to better manage your time and live a more balanced and productive life. Let's go on this journey together.